Hey, good morning and welcome to beautiful sunny Conroe, Texas on this little chilly October morning. I'm here to meet with Ryan from R&S Plumbing. They do our plumbing, and to talk with him about all of the things that he does to put into the homes that we build to give you a product that is, in my view, unbelievable. So let's go and chat to the expert. Well, I'm sat down here with Ryan. Mate, thanks very much for coming in today and doing this very early on what feels like a very autumnal Friday morning over here in beautiful Conroe, Texas, over here at Moore Supply. I wondered if you wouldn't mind running us through, because there are kind of three stages or three phases of where you guys come in new construction as we're building the house. Would you mind running us through what those three stages are?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So the three phases are your underground plumbing, which is your drainage system that's done before the foundation is poured. So we come in, install that, make sure that it's installed per plan and per specs, basically just so you can pour your foundation.
Right.
So make sure everything's going to be in the walls and you're good to go and move on. Next phase is top out. So that's where we come in and rough in all of your piping in your walls.
Yeah.
Right. Your water system, your drainage and vent system, and your gas systems, and all your shower valves, etc. So same thing, go through, make sure everything is to plan, the cabinet details, proposal, make sure everything is ready for sheetrock.
Yeah.
So then you can cover, insulate and sheetrock. And then the final phase is the pretty phase, as we were talking earlier. So that's where you get to put all the pretty stuff that you get to see. All your faucets, all your toilets, just everything that you're going to admire and love to use on a daily basis. So kitchen faucets, lavs, shower trims, toilets, etc. Tubs, so.
Well, if it's okay, I want to dive into some of those areas because there's a reason we use you. So let's start with the first phase, the underground. So, once we pour a foundation, we can't really unpour it. Okay, so everything that you do beforehand is critical because there's really no coming back in any meaningful and easy way to solve a problem. So how do you go about, first of all, what do you put in at that stage? And we have this, again, it's a little chilly outside, but it's not exactly freezing. But now we get freezing temperatures and things like that. So what do you do for us at this phase of the build? One, to ensure that our clients are protected from incremental issues that could come from weather, that could come from heat, that could come from anything that goes on. How do you protect them against that? And how do you make sure that the install was correct? And how do you make sure that there's nothing that, like a drainage pipe could get broken or something because one of the other trades come in? How do you check to make sure that doesn't occur so that when we pour that foundation, it's 100% good down there? Can you talk through that?
Yeah, so first off, once we schedule the ground and we send a ground crew out to do the undergrounds, before we even go out, I typically get with your superintendents in the field or your office or both. Hey, is everything still per plan, per specs? Yep, green light. So that's a starter point. Then we go out, after we line our guys out, this is what we're doing. This is this house, this is this job. So we're all professionals that, we do lots of these houses every day, every week. So, we have good crews. That's why you use us. You said that. So after they do the underground, then we'll send a supervisor out and basically they take a measuring tape and just make sure all the plumbing is gonna hit the walls. It's gonna be per plan. It's gonna be exact, and we make sure that you have fall, because it's all gravity fed, drainage.
Right.
So you also put a level on it and make sure everything has fall.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make sure and look at your foundation plan where your beams are. You have to make sure you have sleeves through your beams for settling of the home, so it doesn't affect your drainage. We also loop your underground water main.
Yeah.
So where your water main comes in from your home, it stays below the freezing point. So from the water meter all the way to your home, it stays in the ground and loops through the slab and is insulated through the slab and then into an insulated wall.
And that's a very important point, that looped water main, making sure and preventing any potential catastrophes that could happen. You know, sometimes you see the water mains on the outside of buildings, and then when we have the freeze, everyone's out there either turning it off at the street or
panicking.
Yes, panicking is the right word. So we do this a different way.
Right. Exactly. And I love that y'all do that. It's really my favorite way of doing a water main. It's the only way I think you should do it.
Yeah.
And it just keeps your water main below the freezing point. You know, you're in the ground, you go in the slab, and then you have a valve where it's accessible. You know where it's at. Typically in the garage, sometimes we'll put it in a closet, mechanical room, wherever, but it's accessible. You're gonna see it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, okay, I know where that's at. If I ever really had to shut the water off, it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
But then the whole point of it is it's freeze proof from point A to point B. I mean, that's the biggest point there.
Yeah. And then you do pressure testing?
Absolutely. So going back to the grounds, we test them. You had asked that. We test the grounds, either water test or gauge with air test, depending on the situation. But 100%, we gotta, you know, that's part of the quality control, is making sure that it's on test. Top out, same thing. We test everything. Test your DWV, test your water system, you test your gas system. So everything's gonna have a test on it to make sure you're good for the next phase.
So you mentioned the top out, and I guess let's talk about that a little bit. And I know that you've got some things here to walk us through, but you know, the top out's, you know, the piece that I think most homeowners first become aware of the plumbing. There's a lot of things that you have to maintain in terms of codes and things, like, you know, if you're putting if you're working with a frame, your diameters of holes, everything else, they all have to be within tolerances. There's very stringent tolerances that have to be done there, and obviously we have George come out and do the inspections on those as well. But tell us about some of the things and some of the misconceptions, because I'm really interested in this, because one of the questions I get all the time is, do PEX plumbing? Right. You know, googlebuilder.com. And so tell us, walk us through what you do, some of the products you use, and what you, as the owner of a plumbing company that I think is the best one I've ever worked with, what is it that you are looking for at this stage?
Okay, so talking about top out and talking about some of the products we use and why we use them. First off, just going back to being, you know, trying to prevent things from freezing. Type A PEX. That's why we use that.
Yeah.
Because it is a freeze-proof PEX. It expands and contracts. So even if this was to freeze, it expands and it'll go back to its same memory. It has a memory in the pipe. That's what sold me on this pipe years ago. When I had a rep come, when it was been 10, 15 years ago, and they were really repping Type A PEX.
Right. You keep referencing Type A, not to interrupt, but are there different types?
There are. There's Type B and Type A.
Okay.
Right? And all that is, you know, there's a different science to it. It's polymer pipe. Right. You know, there's also just basic polymer pipe. And what it is the Type B is a crimp PEX. Here, for example. So look, here's Type B. This is a Type B 1-inch coupling. Okay. Right?
So that goes inside.
It goes inside the pipe, and then you crimp the pipe to the fitting with a tool. Right. Type A, similar but different. If you look, here's also a 1-inch coupling, way bigger in diameter.
there's a huge difference in terms of diameter, and presumably that makes a massive difference to the flow rate.
Yeah, it helps keep the volume. I mean, that's what it is. This is full port compared to Type B is a little smaller. And the fittings are a little thicker and heavier. And this is the tool you use to install it. What it does, the tool actually goes inside of the pipe and expands it, and then you use the same material ring, this plastic as well, that goes over the pipe, and the fitting goes inside the pipe. That's why it can be larger and keep the full port to where you're literally getting the same volume.
Wow.
Instead of the BPEX, you're not.
Yeah.
You're losing the volume.
Yeah.
You know, and I find them just to be better fitting, stronger, and I mean that's why we use it. That's why pretty much it's all we use.
And so the PEX lines carry all of the pressurized water basically throughout the house.
Correct. So your cold water system and your hot water system. That's your water system. So it's all done in Type A PEX.
So let's talk about how water gets hot and cold. There are various things. In the old days, you would have maybe the big old tanks. What were those tanks made from?
You talking about like water heaters?
Yeah.
I mean, they're still pretty much, I think most of them are all steel.
Okay.
I mean, they're still, steel-based, galvanized, basic tank heaters, but there's like tankless and stuff, they've gone to different, some of them are stainless, internal, some copper, but the tanks are still mostly galvanized steel. Yeah. Yeah, they're still standard tank heaters.
So, and then they had electric and they had gas, and the electric was incredibly inefficient, and the thing with those water tanks is you've got to heat the whole tank to be able to get hot water. Right. And so then now we've moved to tankless, which is obviously what we put in as the standard in our home, but which brand do we use and why do we use it?
So the difference between electric gas tank heater to tankless is your tank heaters either have electric has an element in it and it has to keep that water at temperature.
Yeah.
Or it has a burner and it has to keep that water at temperature, right? So as it cools down, the elements kick back on, the burner kicks back on. It's constantly running to keep water at temperature.
Yeah.
We use Rinnai tankless, like behind you, and the reason is it's my favorite brand. I always tell people it's the Toyota Camry of tankless water heaters.
Oh, I like that.
It just works.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of problems with it, and it works great.
Yeah.
And they've been around for years.
Yeah.
So it's my favorite brand, but compared to a tank, the tankless, what it is when you turn on your faucet, the tankless has a flow sensor in it, right? It senses, there's a demand for hot water, right? So then it's turned on. It's not constantly dealing with the fluctuation of your water temperature and constantly running. So that's where the efficiency comes in.
Yeah.
So it feels the demand of water. And then once the water gets from point A to point B, the outlet, it stays hot. You can run it for an hour, 2 hours, as long as you want.
Yeah.
That's another point of tankless.
It doesn't run out.
Yeah, if you want to take an hour shower, you can, and you're not worried about draining your tank and then trying to wash clothes right behind that, or wash dishes, or kids got to take a bath too.
Yeah.
You can, with the tankless, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You can just continue to run as much hot water as you want.
Yeah.
So,
well, behind you, we have a kind of a cutout and an example of a hybrid system. So this is different from the old tanks. Right. So talk us through this. Like, what are all the things that you like about the hybrid system? So
this is a fairly new product that we've been using, that we love that y'all provide, because these are so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning more and more about them, but from what I've learned, I love.
Yeah.
They have a heat pump inside of them. So they draw the heat from the attic or wherever they're stored, and they use that heat to generate heat to heat the water. And doing so, the heat pump, it's basically like a little mini air conditioner.
Right.
And when it's doing that, then it pumps out the cool air out of the side. So you're cooling your attic while efficiently heating your water, your hot water, so, and you still have two elements, to kick in, it's got different technologies. You can download an app, and basically you could say with this as well, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna take an hour shower, you can go on there and you can put in high demand, load, and it'll kick both elements on, the heat pump, everything at once, and it's like, all right, you want an hour shower or more? Come on, let's go. So it can do that, and then you can put it on like vacation mode as well. So say, hey, I'm gonna be gone a week. I don't want my heater, staying on. Vacation mode. There's just a lot of neat features to these things. And so that's just another key factor that we love to provide for y'all, that y'all offer to your customers, is these new hybrid heaters. They're great.
And what's the efficiency, do you think, in terms of this system, the hybrid system? And again, this is a Rheem system. That's the one that we use. Obviously the Renai here, and then you have as a tankless, and then the old way of doing things. So obviously this is a huge step up in terms of the efficiency, having tankless. And one of the things that we do pretty much in every house, I think, is we split the system. So we have, rather than having a closed loop, we have a tank down there and a tank over here. So you have a short run is a much, I mean, it costs me more money, honestly, but it seems like a better solution. What are your thoughts on the efficiencies of these systems and how we set them up in the house?
100%. So you're gonna pay for an extra heater if you're splitting the systems, because say, a lot of your houses, good sized house, a big custom home, beautiful house. You got, a lot of times you have a master bath on this side, and then you have secondary baths and maybe kitchen on this side, right? So the way the layout is, and then you have a big, awesome, beautiful, area in the middle. So it's really great to do split hot water systems. And we can put even a smaller unit, because they make different size units, Renai does. They make 199s, 160s, 130s, etc. So we can put a smaller unit in the master, and it cover the master, powder, whatever in that general area, and it's perfect. But that's what it does, it shortens your runs. So where when it's winter time and your incoming temperature is 40 degrees, or could be, right?
You go to get in the shower.
That heater, it's gonna take a little bit to heat up, but then once it gets there, you don't run out of hot water. So if it's trying to heat up 40-degree water and get there, you want the shortest run possible. It allows you to get hot water faster and still be efficient.
So we've had this conversation before, because a lot of people, when they put in a tankless system, will only put one in, and they'll use recirculation and things like that to try and make up for not putting two in.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
So we do that with some other customers. I just don't like circ pumps if I don't have to use them.
Right.
It's one extra mechanical failure, it's you're using a pump. It's an extra pump that can fail.
Right.
And then you're relying on it to pump water a further distance.
Yeah.
For the heater, it's pumping water anyways. It's already using its internal, mechanism to get water to where you need it to go. You just shorten the run, and you don't have to worry about one extra mechanical failure.
Right.
It's just, over the years with my experience, circ pumps, they can be great in certain applications, but if you don't have to use them, why? Why use it? Because it's just one extra thing that you got to worry about.
So you're really interested in the reliability of the system as well, which comes to my final point and question about water tanks. I always do a thing when I'm doing a seminar, and I say, how many people service their hot water tank every year like you're supposed to?
Nobody. Nobody does.
Right. So, at the end of year one, obviously, I pay for you to come in and service our clients' systems for it.
Yep.
But how important is that for people to do, and how does that play into the products that you use?
So, especially here in Texas, we have hard water. right? You're not going to get away from it. Descaling your heater is what is called, we call it a descale in service. And basically all it is we pump vinegar through your system. You can use a descaling solution, but I've talked to manufacturers reps and they still think, hey, vinegar's the way to go.
Okay.
And it's vinegar. It's you know it's okay for putting in your potable water system.
Right. You're not going to be putting a bunch of
Right.
chemicals.
I'm not worried about, do I trust this descaling product, which you know the label says okay, but I trust vinegar. So and it works well. So that's what we do. That's the process. And what it is just eating up any calcium buildup, any iron, any of the hard minerals that it's in your water that's gonna just stick inside your heater, inside the pipes, basically in the heater. So
we'll come back down to the what we were talking about with the top out. I talk about this a lot. So you want to explain what this is, why it's different, and what it does. Because this is something we put in as standard in our homes.
So it's a hose bib, right? Hook a hose to it. Gives you wash your car.
Yeah.
But what makes this special is a standard hose bib, the freezing point is here.
Yeah.
Or right here at the connection. Okay? Because when you shut the valve off, that's where it's at. And that freeze point is on the outside of the home, which is the most common areas that you get, you know, something that freezes and breaks.
Right, that's
your hose bibs, your valves, your pipe on the outside.
That's
anything
at 2
exterior.
o'clock in the morning, like, oh crap, I forgot to wrap my hose bibs, and you're out there and you've got your whatever jacket you have on top of your dressing gown, on top of your pajamas, and
y'all are getting the frantic panic phone calls, and then we're getting the frantic panic phone calls. So these Frostproof hose bibs, basically, they shut off here. I don't know if you can see that, but basically the gasket is at the very end. So when you shut your hose bib off, the water stops here, which is now in your insulated wall. So that's why they call these Frostproof hose bibs. Because your freeze point is not here, it's here in your insulated wall. So now this is not, you're not worried about this freezing because it doesn't have water to this point, right? So that's why we use that. That's why we do these things.
And this is something I think, you know, over the last few years, since 2021 really, we've had a pretty big freeze once or twice a year. You know, it's made the national news, sometimes the international news, because I get phone calls from people I know on the other side of the pond going,
what happened?
Are you guys alive? And it really is, I mean, it's severe. You know, it can shut down the grid and things like that. So having this kind of gives you, I mean, I still recommend people go out and wrap the things that they need to wrap, but it just gives you that peace of mind knowing that this is in an insulated and protected part of your house, and that's where the water is being cut off.
Exactly. And you brought up a good point is, you know, you still tell people to do things that are preventative, right? Wrap your pipes, put maybe a hose bib cover over it. But that's the whole point of that. That's the whole point of Apex. These are the preventative things that we're doing as a customer, or for our customers, for you, for our home buyers. I mean, we don't like warranty calls, and we want to just provide a great system. I don't want my phone to ring for a problem. I want to put in the best products possible, and I want to make sure that everything is good. So when that homeowner moves in, they don't ever got to call me. You know, unless it's just, hey, how you doing? You know,
which will never happen. Right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, with everything that we've discussed so far, us, Royal Texan Homes, obviously, compared to other people, how frequently does this kind of level of attention and care from the closed loop, everything that we do, the water systems, the water heaters being split, how does all of that compare? Are we, and I don't mean are we better than everyone else, I mean in terms of a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put us?
So, you know, not just because you're sitting here and we're doing an interview, but you're definitely a 10. And I've felt truly, you know, blessed just to be able to work with y'all. That's, you know, that was one of the talking points that I wanted to talk about today, was just y'all care. You know, you care, and I appreciate that because I'm so passionate about what we do. You know, I care about what we do. You know, that's why we provide quality control. That's why we use the products that we use, because we care. You know, and I mean, that's why we use more supply, because they care. You know, we like to be surrounded with people who care. That's how we get business. That's how we can know that we're going to continue on getting business, because we're keeping our reputation of a company who cares. That's why we love working for y'all, because we know you care, you know, and I appreciate that. It's bigger than a lot of people think, you know, it really is.
We've talked a lot about the lines, we've talked about the heaters, we've talked about these frost-free hose bibs, but something else that I love, I've been a fan of this company for a long time. You know, I've worked with them for years, and I'm a huge proponent of them. I will not use other things. You put a gun to my head if you want to, but I would rather go to sleep at night knowing everything's going to keep working.
Right.
Let's talk about Delta, and let's talk about their valves.
So yeah, Delta, man, this is a standard R10,000 valve. Probably my favorite valve on the market. It's solid
and
brass.
You work with all brands, right?
We do. We work with multiple brands.
Okay.
There's other brands I like as well, but for a really good product that's not going to break the bank because it's flown in from France or overseas, right? Here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, and they make really pretty fixtures too.
Yeah.
They have a lot of great color selections, but I mean, just holding this right here, I love these valves. This R10,000 valve, it's been around forever. And they have an R11,000 valve, which is the diverter. It's also been around forever. They're fail-proof.
They work.
They work great. And I mean, here's a cartridge. They're simple to replace if you do have to replace them, but it's a rarity, you gotta replace them, you know? And what's great about them is if you do have to replace it, you can come to More Supply, any supplier, you know, local hardware store, and they carry them.
Yeah.
And they're real easy. It's just a pressure balanced mixing cartridge.
Yeah.
And they work. I mean, it's really one of my absolute favorite fixtures. And I'm possibly looking to build a house with y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody else. And I'm looking forward to putting Delta in there. So
perfect.
Yep. And Jetta Tubs, I wanted to mention that as well. Because the Jetta Tubs we've been using, you know, I didn't know a whole lot until a few years ago, and they have really impressed me. They're just solid tubs,
really
and they're easy to install.
Yeah.
My installers love them.
Yeah.
The homeowners love them. Obviously, y'all love them. It's the reason you select them to put them in your houses. But they're great. I mean, I've installed a lot of different brands of tubs. They're freestanding tubs, they're drop-in tubs. Jetta is just another brand that I love to use.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, because, you know, obviously the motivation and everything that comes behind Royal Texan, part of that is aesthetic. You know, I need things to look good. You know, you can do something that really works, but, you know, if most people look at it and go, ugh, you know, and so Jetta combines all of that. You have this fantastic product. It's really solid. It's easy to install. It looks fantastic and amazing, and you're not really worried about, you know, the durability of it.
Yeah, exactly. They're just well-made quality tubs. I mean, that's just simply put.
Yeah.
Well-made quality tubs. They look good, and they're solid. You know, it's what else you want.
So then let's kind of go to the very end now. You're coming into what we call the trim phase, where you come back in and you put all the pretty stuff together. What are you doing there? What do you like about that phase? As a business owner, what are you looking for when you say, hey, because you meet our homeowners. So when you do that, what are you looking for as a business owner to be able to say, it's all ready for you?
I'm just proud of what we do. You know, I love to walk in a house knowing that we saw it from when it was just dirt, the pipe sticking through the slab, the frame up, pipes in your walls to now you walk into a house and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Your beautiful flooring's in, your walls are painted, all your beautiful countertops are done, and all your beautiful faucets are in.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's the fun stuff. You get to walk into a finished house and go, look at that awesome faucet.
Yeah.
Look at that awesome tub. Look at this awesome, shower system that you get a shower with every day now. I mean, it's my passion. It's what I love as a business owner. And that's going back to just caring, you just to love to walk into that, to a finished product and go, we did that.
Yeah.
We did that. We take pride in that.
It's
it means
tangible.
Something.
You can point to something and say, I did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you had one piece of advice for any homeowner in terms of taking care of their system, taking care of their pretty things, taking care of any of this stuff that, in regard to plumbing, what would that be?
Couple different things. So like taking care of, let's say your pretty things, right? Whether you're cleaning the house yourself or you're hiring a maid or somebody to clean the home. Always tell people to make sure you're using cleaning products that aren't so hard on the finishes, because that's where you can really, there's some strong chemicals out there that can really wear on a finish of your shower, your faucet, etc. So that's one big thing I always tell people, try to use softer products or just soap and water or whatever. If you're wanting to clean your faucets and all that. Really preventative stuff, we're already kind of doing it. We're going back, to the freeze-proof stuff. We're putting in Delta valves. We're putting in Jetta Tubs. We're putting in things that are going to work.
Yeah.
So we're setting our customers up for success, not failure. And I think that's the biggest goal, is that I don't want to have to tell somebody, oh, you need to do this, 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 and this. They shouldn't have to. We're already using the products that they should be able to just enjoy their house, enjoy the products that we put in for them.
Ryan, thanks very much, mate, for coming and doing this today. I know it's a big ask, to make a video and talk about these sort of things, but I really appreciate your effort. If it's okay with you, I wanted you to hang around because I'd like to do another video with you.
Absolutely.
But this time I just want to talk to you about you. People always ask me, how well do you know your trades? So we've got this kind of segment we call Trade Talks, and I just want to talk a little bit about you, your background, and all of that sort of stuff. And it's really interesting how you run your business and the relationship you have with your brother and the care and anyway, I don't want to sell too much. You can do your own talking, but we'll do that video in a bit. But in terms of the stuff that goes in your home, I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have any specific questions, please do get in touch. Come to us through our website, come to us in our model home. The more you know, the better informed you are, the easier it is to make a good decision. I hope this one has helped, and I will see you in the next video.